Welcome to Porsche Club Insider, episode 17. We are not at our normal location. We are actually on site at the 66 Porsche Parade in the Poconos at the Kalahari Resort. Welcome, everyone.
It's been a lot of fun so far. We've been here since Thursday. At least I've been here. You got here
Thursday.
Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, I've lost track of time and everything else. I told somebody they were wondering where the grill badges are coming for a parade, and I said it'll be here on Tuesday. And he goes, "Today, Tuesday?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it is Tuesday." Yes, I said it's coming today.
Well, this is one of the largest Porsche parades ever. We have about 1,100 families here, close to 3,000 people, and it sure does feel like it. Like, this is a big location, a family-oriented with water park and huge convention center. It has all the amenities that you would want for your crown jewel event, and it's been a lot of fun. We're only halfway through it while we're recording this. We'll have to kind of report back later on the second half of Porsche Parade, but a lot has gone on between Thursday when we arrived to today. You guys where do you guys want to start? You start at Concord Prep, or?
Yeah, let's start on.
Okay.
So a lot of people got here Thursday. Friday morning, 9 o'clock, I think, they opened the doors to the convention center for people who were going to bring their cars in for Concours Prep. And there was only 60 spots, I think, indoors. But if you got indoors, this meant obviously no rain, air conditioning, a nice carpet, even though you had to lay tarp down close to the bathrooms and food. So it was a prime spot, and it filled up by Saturday morning.
Yep. There was a good line out front on Friday. It didn't totally fill up on Friday, but by Saturday early morning it was full. And it's actually quite luxurious to be able to do a prep session on your car indoors. That's not the norm. This just happens to be the case that we have enough space at the Kalahari to do so. And those are the people that lined up and got in. Man, they were rewarded nicely for being there early and getting to prepare their car. And actually, it's great for spectators, too, because everyone that's staying at the Kalahari and walking through the convention center, we get to watch and go through the Concord Prep area and see all of the different methods and the soaps and detailing stuff that they use. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting as the cars came filling up and it wasn't limited to one class. They were letting it first come first serve. So you brought your car in and got to stake your spot. And Damon and I filmed a video, which is going to be out when this podcast comes out.
Yeah, actually, it's going out tonight, the day we're filming the podcast. So it'll be out Tuesday night. So perhaps you've already watched it, but if not, go to our YouTube channel. And if you're like me and have spent nearly a decade not knowing the different classes of Concours, even though you're with PCA, watch it and you'll know.
Yeah, because you can say Concours means a lot of things. There's different classes, different levels of detailing your car. And someone that is a professional detailer, you would think, might do well at a Concours, but that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, there was actually, and this is rare, in Concord Prep, there was 3 cars that were being worked on by a professional detailing team. Not not a Concours like road scholars. You would see them come in. This was a place, looked like a group of folks who would show up and detail your car in your driveway or at your office.
Like a mobile detailer.
Yeah, but they were inside the Concord Prep with their buffers and whatnot. So I didn't have a chance to look at the score sheets or the points to see where they finished, but that was unusual to see the teams, because normally it's husband and wife or just the entrant working on the car. So that was something special. But with the indoor prep, unlike French Lick the year before, which was in a parking garage, the lighting is excellent. And French Lick, it was a dim light, because when they make these parking garages, they're not making them to detail cars.
Yeah, as good as the lighting was, though, how many people did you see with like the miners' lights, around their heads?
They are serious. They are absolutely
you
serious.
Think?
Yeah, and it's Concours might not be your thing, but I always encourage people to try it. once because you learn a lot about how to best keep your car clean. You'll learn from people, watching other people do things to their car. But if you come to like a parade or you prepare your car and it gets judged, they actually give you pointers as to where you didn't do well. And if you correct those items and go back to your local region and do the Concours circuit there, you'll probably do pretty well.
What was really cool this morning was the tour departures. So you saw these same cars that were in Concord Prep for 3 days being Q-tipped. They're
Yeah.
out there running over the Pennsylvania country roads. So it's, people may say, it's better to drive your car than to park it on the lawn
these
or something.
people drive them.
They're doing everything.
Oh, yeah.
They were having a day of enjoyment of Concord, but the next day they're driving them on the tours.
So that's Concord Prep, pretty much Friday into Saturday and Sunday. And the kickoff of Parade goes into the Pirelli Welcome Party. And before the Welcome Party officially started, we had a function with Porsche Cars North America with a number of reveals. You might want to talk about that?
Wow, it's well, you were at the front, so maybe you should talk because I got there like 2 minutes late, and
Yeah.
by then it was already like 20 people deep.
So, someone commented on the comment section on the podcast about how it's funny how we have a lot of these little secrets about what's going on. Yes, we're privy to this because we work, or at least I am privy to it because I work closely with Porsche, but they keep it a secret so that it's fun, it's exciting that Porsche as a manufacturer is bringing unique things to a PCA event for PCA members to enjoy. And at the welcome party, typically there's some sort of reveal. And not only did we have a reveal at this year's welcome party, we had pretty much 3 reveals. We had the reveal for Manny, have not seen our Classic Club Coupe because the last time that was revealed, that was at the Amelia Island Works reunion, and that car was brought here. 2 cars were undercover. One of the cars was a world reveal where no one anywhere knew about it. And then the second car was a U.S. reveal, a car that hadn't been seen in the U.S. And so let's talk about the U.S. reveal one first. Parked next to our Classic Club Coupe, which is the color I believe we call it, was it Sport Gray?
Sport Classic Gray, if I
Sport-
remember correctly.
Sports Classic Gray Metallic.
Sport,
Metallic.
yes. So the reason why the original Sport Classic was not Sport Gray Metallic
Because it wasn't metallic.
because it wasn't metallic.
Yeah.
But when we chose to do our car, we chose the new color because they gave us a heads up that there would, soon after the reveal of our car, that the Sport Classic, the 992 Sport Classic, would be coming out in a new hue of what the original Sport Classic was. So our 996 build is sort of like there's a lot of tie-ins with the original Sport Classic and tie-ins with the new. So they parked next to our Sport Classic, the 992 Sport Classic, with the double bubble roof and the ducktail, and pulled the cover off of that, and that was amazing. That's a beautiful car.
Yeah. We talked about this last time. I drove it. I can't talk about the way it drove because it's still under embargo, but I can tell you that the metallic is really subtle in both cars, in the Classic Club Coupe and in that car. But when you see it out in direct sunlight, it is really spectacular.
Yeah, so hopefully that now that they're both out, we'll see them at future PCA events side by side, and hopefully we'll see a 997 Sport Classic. And could you imagine us having all 3 of them together? That would be an amazing shot, and hopefully we can make that happen sometime soon. So we had Grant Larson and we had Boris Appenbrink from Exclusive Manufacturer. They presented both cars. The next car, the world reveal, was the GTS America. And no one has ever seen that car. We got to see it for the first time here at Porsche Parade. I mean, the crowd around it, I don't know if, Damon, you have a photo you can share with folks, but we had a full room and people were pretty amazed by this beautiful, I believe it was Azure Blue 356.
That's it.
Obviously a car that takes a lot of heritage cues from a 356. What are some details on that car?
Yeah, so the full name is quite a mouthful. It's the 2023 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS Cabriolet America. And yes, it's that special blue, Azure Blue 356. It's based off the Carrera GTS. Only available in rear-wheel drive and with a 7-speed manual transmission. And a few other things. I'd probably say the exterior and interior packages that are special to this car what make it so unique. We'll throw up a picture of the wheels, which, in my opinion, are some of the craziest looking wheels ever. Not only is the design of the wheel themselves awesome, but they have 3 different paint surfaces on here. I believe it's white on the inner parts of the spokes, silver on the face of the spokes and the flat
I think it's
areas.
machined, actually.
Machined.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a guards red pinstripe on
It's
around.
very striking. It's,
Wow.
I saw it from far away because I couldn't get close to it.
Yeah.
And then I went to look at it the next day, and it looks better, even better in person.
Can you imagine how you'd feel if you curbed one of those?
I'd feel about what $10,000 poorer or
Yeah.
something, maybe more.
You know, it's like
Honestly, that's the case for any new Porsche wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, but that even more so. I mean, you know, who wants to be the journalist who gets a press car and curbs one of those?
But kudos to Porsche for using 5 lug,
Yeah.
not the center lock, which
Which would be
I would
my
rather have
preference.
5. Yeah.
Yep. And the inspiration we shouldn't forget is the 1952 356 America Roadster, as well as the 40-something years later, I believe, the 964 America Roadster, which was also a wide-body rear-wheel drive special edition.
Yeah, that was.
that time.
But the original America Roadster, we've had at parades, and the members of the Porsche family owned that car. Wasn't it the original America Roadster was made because Max Hoffman was once again trying to compete
Yeah,
with
I
the
think
English
it was kind
cars?
of a pre-speedster thing, and it's one of those things that kind of, you know, if you're a 356 expert, it exists kind of in the murky world of like a Continental, you know, an America Roadster, those things that you just don't see very often. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it was an early
Did they have
Max.
suicide doors?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think the America Roadster did.
Does anyone know who built the body?
You should know that.
Yeah, we should
Like,
know
was it
that.
like Vendler or someone?
I just remember our own John Paderak, the famous John Paderak. He restored one, showed it and owned it for quite a few years, and that actually ended up being purchased by Wolfgang Porsche,
Oh, wow.
the youngest son of Ferry Porsche. It's his collection. It's one of his favorite cars, and it's been on videos as well. So that's a great nod to that car. So I heard some insider information, and this was a rumor going around that this may be the last manual GTS available.
Really?
So this is
So
they have it's not official, just rumors, but
So you're thinking last
manual GTS.
manual GTS.
did you hear, is it because people aren't buying manual GTSs?
No, I think because everyone's saying this is the last hurrah of the internal combustion engine,
Yeah.
and they're coming out of all these models. But I think you're going to see it, starting to pare down some of the options and features and yeah, I was a little bit shocked. It was shocking to hear that the last. You hear the word last, and you start thinking, at one point, it's almost. Well, obviously the hybrid's coming out.
Yeah.
They haven't officially announced it, but I think we know that's.
Yeah,
that's
we've
gonna
seen
be
some
the next-
nerve-wracking shots with the
Yeah.
hybrid indication on the car.
but,
Yeah, I'm always surprised when any OEM sticks their neck out and says anything's going to be the last of anything, given the way that the GM got burned in the mid-'70s with the last convertibles, the last Eldorado convertibles in '76.
Well,
What
it's
happened
not
there?
official, just rumors that
Yeah.
that we're hearing here.
I'm
at
kind of
Parade.
sad, actually.
Well, they don't offer the base 911 with a manual, only the Carrera S, unless you, I guess, now step up to a GT3.
So
So two models.
I'll change subject here for a second. Going back to Sport Classic, I don't know if you looked how close you looked at this model here, but there was this sticker, and we'll put it up there for you. You see the sticker on the car on the window?
No, that's great.
No.
It's
So
like a
it
little
says- it's
ducktail,
a
right?
ducktail.
Yeah.
And so I
So
asked,
cool.
I asked the rep what that meant. And he said Boris Apperding, and I saw him doing this at Amelia Island this year. It works. He was going around taking photos of every single car that had a decal on it. no matter what. He was just taking pictures.
Interesting.
And he said he found this sticker at one of the vendors at
Yeah.
Amelia Island, and he stuck it on the car. And this turned out to be the car that came to the U.S.
Oh wow.
Ah.
And
How
so
cool is that?
Can you hold that up again?
it's a duck.
Yeah.
And it says, it's obviously the ducktail. So then he points to another sticker, which I didn't see. And this is the one that Grant Larson designed,
Show.
which I think, he told me what it meant, and I should have written it down.
From here, I can't read that.
I'll have to ask him. We'll find out.
put
We'll
it
have to
up.
put it on there, but that's the official sticker.
So if Boris was taking a picture of all the decals, do you think he was actually taking a picture of my King of the Hill decal on the Camry?
Really?
That's what I'm wondering right now.
I'm sure he did.
No, but he did say something when we were together at Amelia, and we were showing him, I think it was Unstock or Renbo or something like that, and he goes, you guys always have amazing stickers and decals, and we really would love your help in that. And I was kind of shocked because I think we always look at the stuff that he does and go, oh man, if we could somehow have, so I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Who's the biggest decal nut at the table? Is it Vu?
Not me.
Yes.
It's me.
What do you think?
It's me. It's him. He's the one that's got.
I've got like 2 decals on my car. You've got like 15. I mean, it'd be like saying that my
Is this an
5
intervention?
die-cast cars
Is
on
this an
my
intervention that I don't know about?
on my desk roughly equals your die-cast collection. No, but that ducktail, the one that Boris found, the vendor in Amelia, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's funny that you said I have a lot of stickers. When you showed that, I'm like, I want to rock that sticker, but then I feel like a poser because I don't have a ducktail. And then it led into, should I put a ducktail on my 996?
Yeah.
So that was my thought process when I saw that sticker.
That would be a first. Somebody making a major change to the bodywork on their car just to put a decal on it.
I also heard a rumor that they're not going to sell the ducktail spoiler on the 996.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised that's the case. Just knowing the details of what it took to have the ducktail on our 996 and the change of the transition plate between the ducktail and the bottom of the windshield, and with what's going on in the world with production and resources and stuff like that. Maybe down the road, but not anytime soon.
It's, just like you articulated, it was just it's going to be cost prohibitive to replicate what they did for the 101 car. So yeah, the worldwide premiere of that GTS America. I was telling people it's really rare for Porsche to do a worldwide premiere in the States. And usually it's the LA Auto Show or Detroit or New York. And for them to do it at the Porsche Parade, I cannot remember the last time they did a worldwide premiere of a car.
Well, this one's for the American market only, and the press release didn't have the number. It just
U.S.
said it's
and Canada, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Right,
US
so
and
100 I heard. and-
115, I think it is.
That's what I'm hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was also, I'll tell you, it was funny listening to the Porsche guys talking about how they go for the same cycle where they they come up with the idea of a special model, and the Porsche executives, him and Hall, and say, you really think we can sell that many cars? You really think someone's going to buy it with that kind of color? Do you really think this, that, and the other? And they doubt. They finally approve it. Then it becomes a sales success. It sells out, and then they're congratulating themselves on making such a great decision. And then he goes, a month later, we come up with another idea, and we do the same thing over again. They question our judgment and whether or not it's a good idea to come out with this car. So, yeah, obviously, lately, anything they come out with is more people are pissed off because they can't get an allocation.
So those are just the 3 cars that were on the booth. There were 2 other cars that were on the booth that we should talk about, and there was a car outside of the welcome party that we should talk about. If I'm looking at, I was at the front. They actually had security keeping people off the carpets while they were doing the presentation so that everybody could see the car. But at the far right was also the Porsche design portion of the booth, and they had I think it's their 50-year anniversary Targa. That was a beautiful car. I don't know if you guys got to see that. And then at the very far left of the exhibit was Lewis Hauser's 356 that they brought in. Man, do you know a little bit about that car?
That's the one that the owner went to the first Porsche Parade.
First
that car?
Porsche Parade.
Yeah.
And that car was also at the 60th anniversary museum at French Lick, Indiana. And who was, I think it was it Hans Peter Porsche or that
Would've
signed?
been
It would have been
Wolfgang.
Dr. Wolfgang.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Wolfgang signed the engine lid or something on that car. So it was pretty cool to see just such a wide range, and you could see the heritage and the carryovers, and all sorts of patterns and fabrics. Like it's full circle on a lot of things, but yet it's new technology, and there's still so much excitement around the cars that they build. We talked about hybrid technology. Of course, there's also electrification with we have a number of Taycans here on site. There was just so much to look at. And the car that I mentioned that was out in the atrium area was a car that everybody wants. And then we just happened to have one. Porsche brought one for us, and that was the GT4 RS Weissach edition, I believe.
Yep. And what's neat is when you get here early for a parade, and this would have been on the Friday, there was 4 tractor trailers, reliable, and they were unloading the cars. And they unloaded them right in the parking lot, and people were walking by the Classic Club Coupe, didn't realize what it was. They walked past the GT4 RS, didn't realize that was a GT4 RS. And, it was funny when they finally realized, oh my God, that's a
Yeah.
GT. I've never seen one of those in person, because I guess they're expecting to see it behind some rope or something, and instead it was just sitting there all day by itself.
So the funny thing is, we just wrapped up the PCA member-only raffle, where the first grand prize is a GT4 RS. Subsequent grand prizes are Cayman S's, but people are wondering whether or not the grand prize raffle winner is here at Parade, and that's why that car is here.
Yeah. I think this is still the European version.
Yes, it is.
They,
It is.
They have. So, before I forget, Porsche is giving away this really cool, all the entrants, or all you had to do is give them your email and your name. And have you gotten this piece yet?
I saw it, the red boxes
Yeah.
with the collectible Porsche little shiny box. I
Like
don't
an
even,
attaché case, or not attaché case.
it was so
little-
pretty. Some of the
box
ladies,
itself
the
is
ladies
very
were like,
cool.
"I'm going to use that as a little purse." It was very good looking.
So that it's the free stuff you get for registering for Parade is pretty impressive. And so talking about 356s, you got one piece of the puzzle delivered to you,
Oh yes.
and
So
we'll put some pictures
We've
of
talked-
how it arrived.
we've
to,
talked about the 1600 S motor that I've had for well over a decade, sitting outside of my office, and past tech chair Steve Hoffman volunteered to assist me to put it sort of back on the road, and together with folks from Ellen Engineering, I got some parts, and it's now from a 1600S, it's now a 1720 put back together, and break-in oils in it. Steve ran it for about 10 seconds, and he brought it up in his Cayenne, so I got to see, and it is beautiful. It is gorgeous, and I can't wait to find a home for it.
Have you seen it today?
So I wheeled it over, and so the whole reason why we're trying to get this thing together for Parade is so that we could have a sort of interactive session. And for those that haven't seen a 356 motor taken apart, Steve is taking some of it apart, things that don't need critical measurements, and that's what it looks like now.
So we'll put some pictures up. So yeah, the
Oh.
engine was complete.
I didn't know he was
But,
going to take it that far apart.
But I've been taking pictures today of he's taking it down. He's just taking the valve covers off and all the alternator and fan and whatnot off. So it's pretty stripped down.
Yeah.
And he's been answering questions from people as they're coming along. And I joke with him. I said we should challenge the Porsche folks to do the same with one of their engines.
Right.
Have a race.
Yeah.
I was talking to Steve, and he said, I believe he said, with the motor totally apart, including the case, he's experienced enough to build one of those in about 12 hours. Not including, sending things out to get machined,
Right.
but just total build time, assembly time. 12
Yeah,
hours.
yeah. I mean, he's an expert. You know, he knows where things should go. But it's still pretty intimidating for someone like Steve to bring a motor that you just freshly rebuilt, especially in the environment of where there will be 356 experts. The 356 registry is here with us, and the Skermats are with us, and you know they know the ins and outs of these motors, and they of course naturally gravitate towards it. In my engine, I got it the way I got it. Like I didn't check its authenticity. I don't know if all the bolts are right, and a lot of things that Steve, you know, he cleaned a lot of the stuff, but he put everything pretty much that was on there back on. So I'm learning that, you know, some of these rods are not the right thickness. It should be an 8 mil or 9 mil versus an 8 mil, and there's this shroud on the. It's not the alternator, but the generator. There's some sort of shroud that's on there that apparently is like unobtainium. And they're like, why are you giving that to this motor that's not like a Concours winning motor? And Steve's like, well, it came with it, so I'm not going to take it off. And here I am. I have this motor that has, you know, little things that, because it's a early 1960 motor and it's never really lived anything else other than sitting next to a dryer since 1968. Now it's going to roar back to life, and now I just got to find something to put it in.
Yeah. We should say it wasn't sitting next to your dryer since 1968.
No. So I found an ad on Craigslist. I think we've talked about this before, and I went to go pick up the motor, and the young lady that was clearing out her parents' estate, she remembered this motor being next to the dryer as a kid, never moved, and it sat there until the day that I picked it up.
So that was actually delivered in Steve's Cayenne. Drove it from Florida.
And he brought an engine stand for us to put it on.
But it was funny in his luggage space with pieces of wood propping it up so the pushrod tubes wouldn't get crushed.
I can't thank him enough. I can't thank him enough. I'm so excited. And he has a video of the 10-second run, but it still needs to be properly broken in. And I'm learning a lot about this very quickly in hopes that it'll find a home.
So for those who've never been to Parade, hospitality is a very big room. It's like half a ballroom. And we have all our vendors there, sponsors, and there's snacks and drinks and, you know, round tables for people just to sit down and take a rest. And this is the kind of stuff you see in there is an engine being rebuilt, a Porsche display.
There's a race car in there. Mike Levitas brought one of his race cars. Kids are climbing in and out of it. There's Kelly Telfer with his paintings. He actually brought his pink pig that was, I don't know, do you guys know the Hollywood tie-in to the pink pig that he brought?
It's the Porky's.
Porky's. You have to remember, Damon's too young to remember this movie.
I don't know
Porky's from the 80s was a, I guess, college or high school. It was just a frat kind of movie, right? And shenanigans, and there's this big pig. So he actually bought the actual prop from that movie and painted the pink pig livery, and it's probably, you know, everybody loves it. Everybody's signing it. Everybody's taking photos with it. It's pretty cool. The things that you'll see at Porsche Parade.
Yep. So the Concours, everyone thought this was planned, and it wasn't. It had rained all day on Saturday, which made the golf course where we're going to have the Concours unusable. Monday, the day of the Concours, it was beautiful outdoors, but once again, we couldn't go to the golf course because the ground was still saturated. So we moved it to the parking lot next to the convention center, which actually people were raving about.
I think Plan B is going to become Plan A.
Yeah, it was right there at the hotel. You were only within short walking distance to go back inside the hotel, and you could have lunch, use the restrooms, take a break inside, go to hospitality, and come right back out to the show again. Damon, you got some great drone shots, which you can see in the Concord video.
And congratulations on your first, this is your second official drone footage.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me just set the stage, because let me tell you about what Plan A was. And every venue that we go to is a little bit different. There's a little, some have golf courses or a place where we'll have the Concours on site, and others we have to drive to the Concours venue. And in this case, we were originally planning to drive to a golf course, not too far down the street, but it's still, if you were to go to gone to the Concours as Plan A, you have had to have gotten on a bus, ride down to the Concours, enjoy the time there, get back on a bus, and come back. That's kind of normal, and it would have been fine if we had done that and if we had good weather. But as you said, Plan B, you open your window of your hotel, you see the Concours happening, you can go down, enjoy it. You could come back and take a break. There was barbecue going, music was going, and I think it worked because of the weather. Because I don't know that Plan B would have worked as well if we were on that hot pavement with all the cars and it was 95 degrees out. Like, I think that would have been kind of tough, but we had like a perfect day. Yeah. So, with temperature in mind, Plan B is pretty attractive. And like you said, everybody was raving about the Concours because they could take a lap, take a break, come in to the convention center, go back out. Now, not all of the cars were on the parking lot where the majority of the Concours was, because we kept the cars that were in Concord Prep. They stayed right where they were at.
I thought they should have been moved outside.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that, the people that had their cars in there probably wanted them to stay in there and probably was most comfortable in there. But I would agree with you. I would say that if those cars had moved out that morning so that we could have had the complete family together, so to speak, on the parking lot ground, I think that would have been better.
So, what was everyone's favorite car?
SERS, for sure.
Which one?
The real one, the Rothman's
livery.
Was there another one?
Well, there was that orange one that was like a tribute.
Oh,
it was
no, the
indoors.
real one for sure.
It said on the license plate SCRS.
Oh, I didn't notice the license plate. All I know is the SERS is one of my favorite Porsches from that era. And then he turned on the car for the juniors.
Yeah,
and almost blew my eardrums out. So.
He kept on doing turning an engine on, like it felt like every other hour.
Yeah.
It was very loud, and it's a very rare car.
Yeah.
It was.
I feel like that's one of the loudest factory Porsches ever produced. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. I don't know if.
I think it was loud because when you were doing the rallies,
yeah,
any animal or anything would probably run for its life if it heard it coming.
Yeah.
So that was a real, and a lot of people thought it was a replica.
Wow, that's
It's
gorgeous
a real,
car.
it's a very rare car. Rob, what's your favorite?
Oh, probably the Viper Green 27 RS Touring.
And that was all the way up in the corner by
Yeah.
itself. I didn't even see it until my wife and I were walking around the
I'm
parking lot.
embarrassed to say I didn't get to see that car.
It was all the way up in the corner.
Oh, man.
Kind of behind the blue long roof car that we're not going to talk about.
Oh, don't go there.
I didn't go there. I totally didn't go there.
Maybe
But no, it was an interesting, very, very low option 27 RS Touring. The car actually didn't have sport seats, had normal comfort seats, no sunroof, 6s and 7s. Not a whole lot of options, but it was Viper Green with black Carrera stripes and very striking, nicely restored car.
So for me, more surprising. This wasn't my favorite car, but was surprising to see because I don't even think it was in the Concours.
You got to see your favorite. You can't.
My favorite car? No, but I will tell you what my favorite car is. But did you see that red 959 that was just tooling around in the parking lot?
Yeah, he wasn't even registered.
He wasn't even registered.
Laurie mentioned.
Why did we let him in?
Well, Laurie said he goes.
You gonna turn away a
Yeah,
959?
Laurie said she goes, I'm doing what Manny did at Sports Car Together Fest.
Yeah.
And we let at Sports Car Together Fest, and we saw an interesting Porsche.
Yeah.
We yanked him in and said,
Totally,
don't,
right? Like,
don't park far away. Come here and park with in the main area so we can show you
So
your
that's
car
not my
off."
favorite car, but I just thought that was so cool that just a 959
It
just
was
broke
interesting.
down.
Dirt, bugs on it. It was amazing.
But something was wrong with the suspension because it looked like it was a motorboating. With the, and the guys from Porsche Classic noticed that right away, and we're mentioning that Uwe said how important it is to always drive these cars and how much maintenance and upkeep is on this. And
Yeah.
he noticed it right away too. He said the leveling system was off. But
So-
it was awesome to see a 959.
Awesome to see.
Yeah, just unexpectedly
Unexpected,
pulling
exactly.
up.
That's why I bring that one up. But my favorite car was probably a very strong Unstock car. It was I think it was a gray or chalk 964.
Yeah.
With
It was a
green,
Pennsylvania car. It was like dolphin gray with green seats.
with the green seats, with the
gauges.
It was done by
Yeah.
RS Works, I think.
Is that I got to see it. I mean, and the bumpers were shortened. The interior was immaculate, and I think it had like a 3.8 or some
4 liter.
Yeah.
It was a 4 liter.
I
Oh,
saw
that's
that
right. It was
car-
a Gamroth. It was a Gamroth engine.
Yeah,
or
I saw
something
that
like
car at Cars and Coffee in Westchester, Pennsylvania. I
That
told the
car
guy,
is
you gotta bring that
amazing.
thing to
We need
parade."
to feature that car. Is that a
It's-
car to feature?
Possibly.
It is beautiful
Yeah.
and it's loud.
It is.
It's
It
a
is
car.
loud. It is. It is.
So that's
very
my
loud.
favorite.
My favorite was a car that you're going to see in Panorama, and I think hopefully we'll have a video done of it once the Panorama article comes. And it was a car that was covered most of the time until the show, and I didn't realize how rare it was until I talked to Pete Bartelli, who was helping. The owner was under the weather and couldn't come on Friday, and so Pete was telling me about this car, and he took the cover off, and it was a 356 Carrera GT. Now, for those who don't know, there was actually a Carrera GT before
The
the
Carrera
Carrera
GT.
GT that Paul Walker made famous.
Yeah.
This was the 56 Carrera GT, and and it was designated. They were designated with the words GS or GT, meaning street or race. And sometimes you would see the initial GS /GT, and this was essentially what's called a GT. So the first one is the body, and then the second one's the engine. So a lot of more street body steel with a race engine. So the race engine Carrera, the 4-cam engine, which what do you think a 4-cam is going for? 400 grand now, maybe 500?
For the engine or the?
For the engine.
The engine is
yes.
400 grand.
No idea.
Yes.
I mean, what's the cheapest?
my.
The cheapest B coupe Carrera
No,
these
4-cam
days.
engines
Probably
are like
650 grand for the car.
very, very expensive.
Yeah.
There are like
Wow.
what, 2 people who can rebuild those engines? Well,
It's
maybe
getting
more. I'm
down,
guessing,
yeah.
but
It's
yeah.
so anyway. So the street version of the engine made 160 horsepower. The race 190. So this car, and it was also a 59 Speedster. Now, for those
Right.
of you who know your Porsche history,
Last year, right?
58
No,
was the
58
last
was.
year of the
58
Porsche
was.
Speedster.
59
59
was
they came out
convertible.
of a convertible D for 1 year, which was basically the Speedster body with roll-up windows.
Yeah.
So, how in the world did you have a 59 Speedster? Well, Porsche back then wasn't the rich company that they are now, and nothing went to waste. And they found out they had some extra bodies still as they were phasing out
Wow.
this era of the 56. Not the 56 altogether, that wouldn't happen until 65. But so they finished up building race cars. They were building it for the 2 big dealers that were racing was Competition Motors on the West Coast and Brumos or Brundage Motors back then on the East Coast. And so this car ended up being a lightweight body with a race Carrera engine. And when I say lightweight, he opened the door of the aluminum skin doors, and it felt like I was pushing paper.
Really?
It was that thin. He told me, he goes, people will dent the door, they use their hand to shut the door. And so I used the hand, he goes, shut it. And after that, he scared me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to even shut it hard.
Right.
And they weren't, I think they weren't aluminum welding back then, so they had to use rivets to mount the doors. So you showed me where the rivets were. It was stuff like they didn't use carpeting or even rubber mats because that was all heavier than vinyl.
Wow.
So they used very thin vinyl instead of carpeting on it, and it was all aluminum. It was a very impressive. I think maybe 16 of these exist.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So so Rob knows we're going to do a story on it. So you'll be able to read about it when that story comes out. But that was one of those cars when people walk by, they thought they were just looking at a regular Speedster, not realizing
How special it really is.
how rare this was.
I mean,
Yeah,
there,
but there were a couple of tells when you looked at it that told you immediately that it wasn't a regular Speedster. It didn't have the deco strips on the side, the Speedster script.
The wheels were
wheels.
2-piece lightweight.
Yeah,
So
steel
the
and-
the center was steel, but the outer was aluminum.
and that was how it was from the factory?
Yes, and that was very rare. Now we're used to 2- and 3-piece wheels. That's
Right.
nothing big, but that was pretty high end.
Wow.
But they were looking to save everything they could as far as weight.
Yeah, when Manny and I looked at it for the first time, we're like, well, this is like the great-great-granddaddy of outlaw speedsters,
Yeah.
because it has that look with the lightweight bumpers, the wheels, the louvered engine cover, all that stuff. It's a really cool-looking car. In addition to being super rare and probably, priceless, it was really cool to look at.
And we get to see it at Porsche Parade. And,
And
up
I,
close.
And I believe that car won honorary judge's choice because Boris was complaining because he would like this marble white. I can't remember seeing this car. It was a marble white 85 with a turbo tail. I don't know if it was a turbo look
With or without a tail?
with the tail.
With the tail, okay.
But it's paint to sample. He said it's a very rare color, but not what all the other judges, including Grant Larson, fell in
Yeah.
love with this Carrera GT
Right.
car, and that one. And it was kind of funny because the owner of the Speedster didn't know who Grant Larson was.
That's funny.
So
Sure, now he does.
yeah, he's like peering over it. I guess he didn't recognize the name. And finally,
Yeah.
somebody whispered, he's like, this guy designed the Boxster,
Yeah.
the Carrera GT, and a bunch
A
of
long,
other
long
famous
list of cars.
Porsches
Speaking
too.
of Boris, before, can we talk about the little party favor that he brought in the box that we got to get a look at?
Oh, you weren't there.
How did I miss out on all the good stuff?
The
Pretty busy working.
Yeah.
yeah, they gave the whole palette of color to the colorblind guy. I joked as I opened it up. It was the original 62, was it?
Right. It was the original 62 color
Special.
chip, not brochure, but it had a little.
Oh, like the Pantone matching
yeah.
system book.
But it's
Yeah,
the special
yeah.
colors only. It was
Yeah.
a special, not the regular. It was like PTS, if you will,
Right.
back
Right.
then.
Which was the inspiration for what Boris brought, which was this book of all the approved PTS colors. But the one back from 62 was incredibly cool because it had colors in there like signal orange that would show up, 6-7 years later as regular colors, but they were available special order way back in 62. So if you're a color geek, that was pretty fascinating.
So he was translating in German because it had the disclaimers back then saying it's impossible to replicate on print what the exact color will be with paint. So be aware that it may not
Right.
be an exact match. But yeah, and I looked
Very
for Club
cool.
Blau.
Yeah.
And it was in the new one now. And he said, what did he say, that at first they didn't want to print it because they thought it's environmentally unfriendly to print the colors now. And he was like, you can't see these colors on the screen.
Right, right.
You have to have some kind of swatch
Yep.
to really compare them.
So speaking of unique colors, and again, amazing cars that we get to see at Porsche Parade, super rare cars, you got to drive a cool color and super rare car and do a 1 mile review on it.
So this was pretty funny. I'll start this because we were waiting for the annual membership meeting to start.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there, just kind of looking around, doing my thing. And this guy walks up and says, hey, I've seen your 1 mile reviews. They're so cool. Do you want to drive our Ruby Stone 964 Carrera RS?
Whoa.
And then Vu walked up and, yep, I will. But I think Vu was a little bit busy then, so.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, Damon said,
You were so lucky I was busy.
Yeah.
Damon said, I need your help. We're going to film this. And I figured he wanted me to do the camera stuff, that he was going to drive. And then he tells me, no, you're driving. And
No,
I'll go.
honestly, I would have loved to have driven that car, but as 964 race car past owner, 964 current owner, and I felt you would probably be the most objective to drive the RS. So
Well,
you owe me.
Cutting to the chase at the end is Damon got to drive it back to the hotel.
I did.
So he
What?
he-
You too?
I did.
So the owner was very nice. He said,
Can I
let's-
say you officially stink?
Yeah, no, that was the highlight of the week, definitely the month, and possibly the year so far. So
Damon told the owner. Yeah, it was a nice surprise.
Okay, so can I ask, or will it ruin the 1 mile review of how different? Does it feel that special? Like, did you meet your hero, and were you happy to meet the hero?
I was amazed at this car was without a doubt to me all they cared about was making a race car.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, this
Oh, man.
this was nothing like an RS America, nothing like obviously my 964, not even like my race car.
Yeah.
I guess with my race car, the way I'd set it up, it was a very forgiving. I could really do anything to it, toss it around, and this thing it was hard as heck to get this thing to
Really?
lose control in the race car. But remember, I really fine-tuned this for my driving. The Carrera RS pushing it in corners, it was surprisingly. I called it. I said, "This is not a car you're texting and driving with."
Really?
Yeah, with both hands. What do you think,
Oh.
Rob? You drove in Germany, and
Another Ruby Stone car in Germany. Yeah, no, I mean,
Wait a minute. I'm
both-
the only one at this table that haven't driven a Ruby Stone 964 Carrera RS.
You are.
but
I
you
guess
drove
so.
a Panamera. So what did you think of the?
I think we talked about it. I mean, given the driving that I was doing, which was relatively low speed driving, I think the steering felt heavy. It might have been because the suspension geometry in front on a 964 is set up for power steering, but it just felt, kind of gratuitously heavy. I loved the way the car revved, a lightweight flywheel, obviously, so, revs nicely. It's fun to flip the throttle, watch the revs climb so quickly. Unfortunately, I drove it right after the pair of 2.7 RSs, which felt, much lighter, much more lively than the 964. I would assume on a track. Have you driven one on a track, Manny?
I've driven a Cup car 964.
Yeah, okay. I would assume a completely different animal on the track. I mean, it's still a lightweight car, too. I think I've terrible memory for weights, but 27...
It's 300 pounds lighter than a 964 C2.
Yeah, 2750, 2800 pounds sticks in my head, which, by today's standards, is still a very lightweight car. But for what I was doing, it was not, it didn't showcase the best of the car driving it the way I was driving it.
What struck with me was the doors. I guess so. When Bob Miller's, we did the video with the RS, I got to move it in and out of the garage, and I know the doors were not aluminum on those cars, but the owner of this car pointed out that it has no door bars, so that made a big difference.
Being a
And-
European
Because
model,
it's a
right?
Euro
yeah,
model,
European
yeah.
model. So closing the door, it felt like a lightweight door, even though it was steel. With my car, my 964, it felt much heavier when I shut the door. But and I don't know if it's the way it was set up, but yeah, this was definitely I gave it a terrible rating for daily driver and for road trip. Oh,
Really?
No, my God.
Really?
It was definitely. I mean, you drove it.
Are you saying that to make me feel better?
No, I mean it was definitely a no BS car. This was this was someone. If you don't know how to drive, you're gonna wreck this car.
Yeah. I think what I'm kind of feeling here since we all have driven it at least a little bit, and I drove it pretty slow and very easy, but I think this is a very divisive car, and different people who drive a Carrera RS and 964 will probably think very different things. Since I'm not doing the review, I'll just give a couple things I thought. The steering was lighter, I think, than the RS America, but I still liked your power steering, Manny, I have to say, and I did like the lightweight flywheel in the Carrera RS, but in a 964, I think I still prefer having the regular flywheel because it really affects pulling away. It's tough to pull away.
I noticed that too.
It
It's
really
tough
does.
to get started in first
Yeah,
gear.
exactly.
You
Unlike
without
my
slipping the
Cayman.
clutch. Yeah.
My Cayman, it doesn't feel any different from stock, but in the 964 Carrera RS, that flywheel makes a huge difference in
Right.
drivability.
At least 2 journalists stalled the car getting going.
Yeah,
on
I
the
almost
drive that
did.
I was on. So, and it's easy
Yeah.
to do, but yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
What seats did the car?
Oh, some crazy 1990s
Like the,
style.
SPG, type typical fixed
But
back,
were the,
fixed
yeah,
back one
were
piece.
the inserts still like contrasting leather,
Yes.
some of which
Yeah.
mimic the ruby stone
Yep.
color of the car? Yeah.
Yep.
And the owner said you may slide around a little bit because unlike the race seats, which were like the Recaro fabric.
Yeah. The
I
inserts are
didn't.
leather.
Yeah, I didn't slide around, but Yeah, if I would own that car, I would probably get the valves the shocking revalve to make it more livable on the street.
Yeah.
See, I thought the coilovers or the shock valving was fine. I thought it was a little more comfortable than my Cayman, to be honest.
Well, you've got
I don't know.
these
It's
coilovers in your Cayman that
Yeah.
are probably set for like 5 clicks or something.
yeah, they're pretty stiff.
Yeah.
I think they're stiffer.
But
than
it was
this
pretty cool
964.
driving a car that
Yeah.
Motorsport said, hey, we got to make X amount of cars and make a modulation, and
Yeah.
Yep.
you're buying a race car with it.
It's an
It's funny
experience.
about
I
the-
loved it. It was an experience.
The seats, we hadn't talked about those earlier, but it's really bizarre because the bolstering is really aggressive. But the centers are leather and they're super slippery. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of room to slip and slide around because of the bolstering, but, you know, they don't hold you in place the way.
So the other end of that, we're going to do a review on a Concours 7 or an 8-time Concours winning Panamera
yeah.
this week. So that'll be
It's probably the best first generation Panamera
Yeah.
in North America, knowing the people who own it.
So you guys got to drive
Yeah.
the RS,
Yep.
and you're going to give me the Panamera. So now that I'm feeling completely down, I wanted to address.
Did he mention it was probably the nicest first-gen Panamera on
Yeah.
the planet? I mean,
But if you drive it, the owner is so particular about this car because it is a Concours winning, beautiful car, no blue jeans.
Yep.
Because
Strike
he has
one.
white leather, right? Or light
Yeah,
colored
it's
leather.
linen, I believe, or whatever
Yeah.
they call the
So
lighter
the
color.
dye from the blue jeans stained the leather. He found out the hard way. And you have to wear gloves because he doesn't allow the oil from your hands.
Yep.
You guys aren't making me feel any better, so I'm going to go into this next topic.
You're not making it up.
This next topic.
He's very particular about the. If you see him prep this car, it's a phenomenally.
I know the
prepared
car, and it's an amazing car.
Ever
It
since
is.
I've known him, he has prepared this car for parade. He's very serious.
Is it the one with the personalized plate OCD?
It
don't know.
should
It's,
be.
yeah, it should be if
It
it's
should
not.
Is
be.
it yachting
Right.
blue? Is that what it
Okay.
is?
It's yachting blue
Yeah.
with some BBS style mesh wheels.
All right, so we're almost to the top of the hour. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star. We'd really appreciate that. We still got a whole lot to do here at Porsche Parade. We've got the autocross coming on Thursday. Will I be able to beat Damon? That's the question
Probably
that's the question we've been asking for a while. We may find out the truth, or I might have a number of excuses to share of
Should
why.
I start putting my foot in my mouth?
Yeah.
Probably.
So if you own a Porsche, just grab your VIN for $46. Go to PCA.org, become a member. You won't regret it. There's so many fun things to do at the local level, at the national level. If you're looking at Porsches and you don't currently own a Porsche, we have a program for you as well. It's called Test Drive, and we will find you the right car, get you in the right seat so that you can come out and have a lot of fun with us. Fellas, anything else we want to share with folks?
Keep on watching the YouTube channel. We're doing Tech Tactics Live. We're going to try to do 4 episodes here at Parade on Friday and then release them one per week. So obviously people that can't make it to Parade, you get a little flavor of it. And we've recorded some other podcasts that we'll do later on here at Parade. So
Also, one more thing, Paul Greger, who, if you've been around the club and national events over the years, requested that we share that PorscheClubNews.com has an area where you can submit your story as a Porsche Club member celebrating their 70 years of Porsche Club. So head to PorscheClubNews.com, submit your Porsche story. It doesn't matter how impressive or not that it is. They just want to hear from you and share your experience.
you can tell them how Damon cheated and won.
What?
There you have it from the 66.
Hey, no, I'm in modified now, so because no interior. I'm not cheating anymore.
From the 66 Porsche Parade, we're signing out. See you next time.